How was your experience today with the panels? It got a little heated there for a minute.
No, I thought it was beautiful because when it gets heated means that people are interacting, that they're feeling, and they're actually exchanging opinions that they're very passionate about. So I'm really excited because I think the audience participation here is very involved. I can feel like the whole energy flow, two ways. And it's really, really nice and very enriching for me.
Now tell me, as a writer and a female, it is still a minority in Bollywood. Do you feel like you have to work harder?
Yes and no. The way one has to work harder is to just fit in, which is not necessarily gender related at all. It's more about not being from the film industry, and not born, you're not in the manner born, so that is more of a struggle actually, or has been, not really right now. But the only way that the gender part comes in is sometimes maybe around the actors, because what happens is they're more comfortable with the boys. So, they just get a little restricted, when they see a woman, because they feel they have to behave themselves, which is a bit of a problem for them. So, so then for me, I have to go out of my way to be one of the boys so that they don't feel uncomfortable and our work doesn't come, sort of get affected by it. So that's really it. But other than that, no. Nothing as part of the craft or profession that I would say is gender-based.
Your scripts recently especially have been very realistic, hard-hitting and women-centric. How do you come up with that idea?
Well, for starters, I want to clarify, I don't come up with the idea. Those are, the last 3 films have been Madhur's. Madhur Bhandarkar, very accomplished director. And those are his ideas. So his idea will be that he wants to set a film in the fashion world about a small town girl, etc. Or, about a heroine in the industry, or about a boy going to jail who's just, a regular boy. So that idea is his. So I'm hired as a writer to then take it forward from there. So then I'm actually really just, then fleshing out the story first and then writing the screenplay for him. So in that sense, if you're asking me, no, I'd probably not even do these left to myself, because I think my own stories would be probably more about boys or just about other things. But I'm really sort of, again, enriched by this experience, because I think I've grown as a creative person having worked on these.
So you think you're a director's writer?
Again, yes and no. Simply because, yes, I am a director's writer, because I think I make it a point to make sure first as to what his vision is and then try and add to that and create on that instead of superimposing mine. But in another way, I probably am not, because I am a director first, mentally. So I have a very strong vision. I often write the visual out, which may or may not be interpreted by the director the same way. And sometimes, not that Madhur ever has a problem with it, but sometimes I've had experiences earlier where a director didn't appreciate that visual at all, because he's seeing the director on paper and he doesn't want that, because he's the director, I'm not.
So walk us through, if you would, like Heroine. How was the script born?
Yeah, well, Heroine has been a really long journey, simply because when we started sometime in 2010, so Madhur had this idea of just having heroine based, obviously, in the Hindi film industry. And so my first question was, what is it that's even interesting you? Because it's a vast topic, which part? And he said, I think I'm interested in the last few years of a heroine, because there is a shelf life, What happens when she's kind of, slipping off? Then what happens? So we started from there, and then, I worked on the story, and then, I had a sort of co-writer join in just a little later, who then sort of, faded out a little somewhere in the middle. But essentially, I wrote it inside out. I thought 2 things were very important to break Madhur's general formula that, a girl comes in, you see her, the system through her eyes, and then, there's a rise and there's a fall. So we said, okay, it's not about an outsider, it's about an insider. So that was already a little different. And the second thing was that I was very interested in her state of mind a lot more than what happened to her outside. So we actually wrote it inside out. So at any given time, her emotional state was far more important to us than where she was outside. And that defined everything else around her.
In terms of Kareena Kapoor, I believe she was the original choice. Now, but when you're writing, did you have that in your mind?
Yes, I did, because I already knew there was Kareena Kapoor, but then it changed because, she wasn't part of it, and then another heroine stepped in, so then we rewrote the whole thing, keeping her in mind, and then Kareena came back, and then we rewrote it yet again, keeping Kareena in mind.
How do you think the film turned out, in your opinion?
Okay, that's always a bad question to ask a writer because no writer ever likes the final product ever because it'll never be what you thought it would be because A, you're not the person executing it. B, it's also so much easier to just write it on paper. You just say, I want it like this. But the practicalities of it may have been different. So, the person did the best that he could at that point. So, by all that logic, yes, by that logic, I mean, really, Heroine is not what I quite thought it would be, like any other film that I've done earlier. Having said that, I think I'm really beyond pleasantly surprised by Kareena herself because I think she is fab. She is way beyond anything I thought. All the other actors, whether it's Arjun Rampal, Randeep Hooda, Ranveer Shori, everybody else has done a fantabulous job, and I feel so humbled that an emotion I felt alone in my room has been fructified so well by them.
In terms of as a writer, what is perhaps your favorite movie? I know that's a hard thing to answer.
Are you asking about my own films? I would say Fashion very easily because I think it's the closest to my own vision of the film. It was also a time when I was coming back to cinema because I was doing a lot of television at that point. So it was like a catharsis for me. And yes, I enjoyed that process the most.
Well, and I enjoyed all your films very much. You're a wonderful writer. What can we expect for you in the future?
Well, for starters, I am writing a lot of material for myself as a director, so I'm hoping to get there on the floor sometime next year. But in the interim, I'm writing not so much as an assigned writer. I'm actually, for the first time, parting with my own scripts to younger directors because I like that idea. I think I'll grow a lot with that.
And those scripts are not women-centric. You were saying there are different stories?
Yes, they're not women-centric at all. In fact, I have no scripts of my own which are women-centric, strangely. In fact, finally, I've written one which is a bit of a chick flick, and which isn't, again, quite a chick flick. But yeah, I mean, that wasn't even what I was doing before I joined Madhur's films. Yeah.
So who were your inspirations growing up?
Growing up, actually, you see, while I was growing up, I wasn't thinking of writing or directing or even filmmaking at all. I was just, just watching Bollywood because I'm very passionately involved with it as a viewer. So as filmmakers, I was just an Amitabh Bachchan fan, so I followed anything that he did. But I really liked the parallel cinema. I thought Shyam Benegal is the most underrated and the most awesome filmmaker we have right now. And I really liked all his films. Other than that, I think I was far more interested socio-politically, so I was following world leaders. I was far more interested in them, and I still am, actually.